So the impact of tanning beds, we think they're developing an epidemic of UV-induced tumors in tanning bed users, and it will skyrocket over the next 2 decades. We are going to see a tremendous, you saw that graph at the beginning, well, it's going to go much, much higher. We are going to see that mostly, unfortunately, are teenage women and young women and men. And you have a lot of relatives, teenagers and grandchildren and partners and so forth. This is a very, very scary statistic. So what do we do to prevent it? This is what photo damage look like. This is a real life person that you can see. They baked themselves for many, many years in the sun. Sunscreens. Last words on sunscreens. Now you've learned that you have to protect against what? Both UVA and UVB. So now you're going to be smart shoppers. When you're out there looking for sunscreens, you have to look at that. UVB, the way you know about UVB is UVB, the number that they use is called sun protection factor, which is what? The SPF, right? And there's a lot of numbers out there. And a lot of these numbers are very marketing. In Europe, they have 100, SPF of 100. So if you are very, very light complected, you should use 30 to 50 should be enough. Because after 30, the graph doesn't really change that much in terms of photo protection. So the ultraviolet B is red in terms of sun protection factor. The UVA, they're coming out with new ways. Right now, you will only see if it has it or if it doesn't have it. And they absorb, there's 2 types of sunscreens. There's chemical sunscreens and physical sunscreens. Chemical sunscreens absorb the UV radiation, they transform it to heat, and the sunscreen becomes inactive after a couple hours. That is the other message. A lot of patients, they go out to play golf, tennis, they're out there all day. The sunscreen after 2 hours has been inactivated. You need to reapply your sunscreen. And that is one of the myths that they think they put it on in the morning, they're out there all day, they swim, they come out, they're in the beach. It's important to reapply your sunscreen. Physical blockers, the way they work is that they reflect UV radiation and they have longer activity. Those are the white pasty ones that have zinc oxide in them. So these are just, I'm not going to go over these because this gets really complex. All these are the FDA-approved active ingredients for sunscreens, and then you can see how each one blocks either UVB, UVA, or both. So is there anything really new in sunscreen and sunscreen ingredients? Well, what's happened is that for the last 20 years, the FDA had not approved any new ingredients for sunscreen. While the Europeans have hundreds and hundreds of molecules, we have very limited ones, the ones I showed you in the previous slide. Well, in the last couple years, they approved several molecules which are more to protect you against UVA. So the new theories and the new products that are out there regarding sunscreens are for UVA photo protection, and these are the new kids on the block. They have UVA stabilizers. That means that these sunscreens work to block UVA. Helioplex, Mexeril, increase UVA protection, and Neutrogena, Aveeno has that Helioplex. It's a Johnson & Johnson product, and the Mexeril is a L'Oreal product, and as you can see, you know, the 2 big companies are against each other. They're both very good sunscreens, and they have a good UVA protection. And basically what they've done with these new sunscreens is, remember I said some of them just block UVB, and then they've added the UVA protection and added some molecules that block the whole spectrum from UVB, the UVA, and all the way to the long UVA. So what does the American Academy of Dermatology recommend? Let's go through that. Does anybody know? Important issues that we've talked about. Sunscreen should provide significant UVA coverage. That's a new thing because remember we just thought it was UVB and our sunscreens only had SPF for UVB. Now we know that you have to protect yourself against UVA. So that was added to the monograph. Standard advice still applies. The sun is closest to the earth between 10 and 3 p.m. So if the sun is closest to the earth, you are most likely to get a bad sunburn during that time. So if you have skin cancer, history of skin cancer, if you're one of those type 1 skins, you should try to avoid, when possible, of course, within reason, 10 to 3. If you're a jogger or if you exercise and you're going to be out there, try to do it before 10 or after 3, and that's what I recommend my patients. If you're going to be out, you should try to use hats and some protection clothing. There's a lot of companies now that sell, even for swimming, they sell these clothing that already have an SPF in it. Golf clothes has it now. Tennis clothes has it. Scuba diving people, they have these new materials that already have the SPF on it, so you don't have to worry about reapplying sunscreen all the time. 15 to 30 minutes before sun exposure. We mentioned this, reapply every 2 hours at least, because it will be metabolized and it'll be gone. Sunscreen should not be used to increase the time spent in sunlight. Okay, that's the words of wisdom. Because you had, oh no, I put my sunscreen on, I'll stay out, 10 more hours. No. That is really, really important. So cover up with white-brimmed hat, sunglasses, and protective clothing. And unfortunately, we do not have skin transplants yet. So hopefully, that is a look at the future. If we could just transplant in skin, it would be wonderful. We do have procedures that reverse some of the photo damage, and with lasers and peels and different fillers and everything, but we're not there yet with replacing our skin, so please take good care of it. Thank you so much.
This program was brought to you by the Boca Raton Community Hospital Foundation. Imagine what we can do together.